Albios is one of the most mysterious guardians to ever exist. He walked the dark swamps of Venus with only a lantern, had only 5 lives, and died in a last stand battle. The story of Albios was introduced in The Taken King, but this season we have an update. Let's take a look. Here is the information on Albios from The Taken King. 6 lines of flavor text from an armor set and a bond. This bond represents the one thing Albios took with him into the swamp, a single lantern. Not a trace of him is left, only the swamps of Venus remain. Why a willow tree? It was his only roof. The swamp had consumed everything else. He lived his 4th life in the swamps of Venus, beneath the shade of a willow tree. It wasn't until his 5th life that the Ahamkara spoke to him. By then, it was too late. When you enter the void for the last time, make it count. Albios. So that information was from The Taken King. We're not sure what order they go in, maybe it's just the order of the armor, but they all tell the same story. And that story is that not much was known about the warlock Albios at the time except for this. The mysterious warlock entered the swamps of Venus in search of something. Perhaps treasures, an ancient creature, or just solitude and quiet compared to the craziness of the last city. Albios enters the swamp on Venus and takes shelter under a willow tree with only a lantern to guide his way. The swamp consumes everything else. From the title and flavor text, Albios was said to have 5 lives. These cards mention death 4 and 5, which took place in the swamp, so we're not sure what happened previously. Albios spoke to an Ahamkara and then had his 5th and final death after a last stand of some kind, implying that he did fight to survive. Was it against this Ahamkara? Did he maybe make a wish that caused all of this? This card also gives us an update on when this happened during the Great Hunt. Why did the Ahamkara flock to Venus? Was this part of Albios' mystery? Joxer kept it in his hands. All that light and still your key motivation is fear. It's fear that drives you to ask the Queen for help. The Ahamkara are blasting and paving entire regions of Venus, he said. They wouldn't be so base, they're rewriting Venus. Whatever, it's a problem I can't punch. Do you have guns that will help or not? The Ishtar Collective flocked to Venus, and Cade, when he was a bodyguard, came with them to study the creatures they described as parasitic reptilian critters that appeared out of thin air. Inexplicable genome, new proteins, so much potential. While we don't know exactly what they wanted, a majority of Ahamkara activity took place here on Venus. We know many lived elsewhere, like in the Dreaming City with Marasov, but we hear about entire armies of them being decimated by Ikora's Nova Bomb on Venus, rewriting the place. Although we just had a season all about the creatures, questions still remain. Why Venus? We know the 9 were involved and made wishes which may have done things like create Zur in the first place, but hopefully we get some answers. Sometimes though, the mystery is what makes it a good story.
The last time Ahamkara roamed free, they reshaped Venus. Unraveled reality itself.
Reality didn't suit the Guardians of the past. They wished to shape it accordingly. We merely obliged.
What's interesting is how Albios only had 5 known lives. Think how many times your guardian has been brought back, just falling off the tower, probably a couple hundred. This warlock came to Venus for a reason with his lantern, a quest of unknown importance, and is remembered by other guardians with a bond. In Cade's treasure map, the Io version, which were in the game a long time ago, he mentions Albios' funeral. Okay, so Albios' memorial service was on Io. Sacred to warlocks, blah blah blah. Don't get me wrong, I liked Al, but the service ran a bit long. Ended up betting Banshee I could make a few hairy jumps high up on the mesa. Broke both my legs, but I did it. I forgot what Banshee gave me, but I know I left it in a cache up there somewhere. Cade 6. In Season of the Wish this season, we get an update. Albios and his 5 lives are not just a mystery to us, but to other guardians of the city. Warlocks debate, hunters gossip, Titans share mission-critical information. Warlocks deliberate over whether Albios' first life came before or after his resurrection in the light. Did he have 5 lives or 6? Was he awoken, bringing his total to 7? Was he an Exa with an uncountable tally before his rebirth in the light? What was the role of his ghost in his lives and deaths, of the Ahamkara he dealt with? These are the questions heard in hushed voices in the tower's study halls and louder on its practice fields. The hunters talk over the relics of his lives. Where is his lantern now? On Blessed Io with his memorial? Stuck in a Venusian swamp? Secured in a treasure cache? At least 6 hunters have come forward with claims to the lantern's location. None have been authenticated by Albios' surviving acquaintances. The Titans honor his loss as any other diminished in the light. But to those who still remember the Great Hunt, his lives are a warning. Did Albios make an unweary bargain? Was his light eaten by a wish dragon? Is that Ahamkara still alive, hunting for light bearers? These are questions Albios and his ghost are no longer able to answer. Those who bear the sign of the lantern bear it in honor of a warlock whose lives touch the light, and as an unfading reminder of the vigilance still required of them. One thing's for sure, Albios encountered an Ahamkara which may have had a part to play in his secret mission on Venus, or maybe he wanted to be left alone and stumbled upon the Wish Dragon. The lantern is a great touch though. Some believe it was simply to guide him on his journey through the dark swamps, both a light and a metaphor of his lonely story. Others though, like the hunters you heard in that lore card, believe the lantern to be a great artifact, maybe like a holy grail type situation. They search for the lantern, speak myths about it, and some even claim they found it. Then you have the view of the Titans. They look at Albios' story as a cautionary tale and a reminder of their duty to protect the city from creatures like the Ahamkara. Although his story is still a mystery, it's great to get some more lore on this character many years later. Anyway, Guardians, that's all we have for today's video. If you'd like to see some more Destiny lore and mysteries just like it, please be sure to subscribe to the channel. I thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next video.